stand up, stand up for the champions, stand up for the champions, stand up, stand for the champions, stand up for the champions, stand up, stand up, stand up for the champions, stand up for the champions, stand up, stand up for the champions, stand up, stand up, stand up for the champions, stand up for the champions, stand up, stand up for the champions, stand up for the champions, stand up for the champions, stand up, stand up, stand up for the champions, for the champions, stand up, stand up, stand up for the champions, stand up for the champions, stand up, stand up.
So today, I dedicate on behalf of members of Assembly elect, on behalf of my Deputy Governor and my humble self, we dedicate this victory to God Almighty. We dedicate this victory to the people of Rivers State. We dedicate this victory to those whom the army killed in defense of their votes, in defense of democracy. We dedicate this victory to them. But for them, we may not have been here because they died in order to secure our votes. They died in order to defend democracy. And that is what is supposed to be. Let me, for the first time, and those who know me know, I'm not a praise singer, but let me say for the first time, commend Inec for standing firm to see the truth. I say so because I'm one of the critics of Inec, and I'll continue to be a critic. But when they do the right thing, we praise them. When they do the wrong thing, we criticize them. That's the only way society can move forward. But I'm not surprised. Who is in charge of our zone? It's a daughter of the Niger Delta. We commend you. We thank you. If we have people like this in this country to be at the helm of affairs of things like this, nobody will have problems. I commend you for being steadfast. I commend you for being firm. I've never met you. The first time I met you was when you came for stakeholders meeting. The only time I've read about you was when you were the law editor of this day. So I've never met you. This is my second time of seeing you after stakeholders meeting. Let me commend the resident electoral commissioner, who is from the civil society. This is my second time of seeing him. The first time I saw him was when he came to pay a courtesy call as protocol demands. When he was posted to this state, he came and paid courtesy call. The second time I'm seeing him is today. I've never met him again. I want to commend you for being resolute. Continue to be firm. The responsibility of the security agencies is to protect Inec material. It's to protect the ad hoc staff. It's not for them to conduct the election. But all of us saw on March 9, Inec was virtually prevented from conducting the election. The army took over. The truth must be told. No matter how you people protect them because they are part of federal government, you are part of federal government, you must try to protect them. But I must protect my own people. I must protect my own people who never had any equipment, who never had any arm with them to protect themselves. But they died. The duty of the army is not to take over Inec office. The duty of the army is not to take over collection center. It is for them to protect Inec. But this one we saw, where the army took over the conduct of the election, even took over the functions of the police for the first time. Police ought to be the leading agency in terms of internal security. Nobody says, go to the body camp. You will see Inec electoral materials there. Is it where it's supposed to be? Let the truth be told. I'm not afraid. Nobody has the monopoly to take my life. Nobody. I will die the day God said I will die. So I'm not afraid to speak out. And I will continue to speak out. But for God, we wouldn't have been here. All powers came, but God said, I am the superior power. And that's why we're here today. And I want you to tell the national chairman, I want to say to the public, let everybody know, in 2015, June, July, I want to see Mr. President. This is a live broadcast. Let everybody hear me. In 2015, June, July, I want to see Mr. President. And that was where I saw the national chairman. And I thought he would be made Minister of Education. Very brilliant young man. Very brilliant. When I say brilliant, brilliant in all ramifications. Very brilliant young man. So I thought he would be made Minister of Education. So when I saw him in Mr. President's residence, I said, Professor, congrats. Because when I was a minister, he presented the problems of Nigerian universities. There was nobody as a member of the Federal that was not happy with the presentation. When you saw the presentation, if you see the presentation, you know that this man did a good job. So I thought he would be Minister of Education. I heard that he's now the chairman of Inec. Since I saw him in that residence of Mr. President on 2015 till now, I have never spoken to the national chairman. I have never spoken to a national chairman. Ask him. I was afraid. Can he have the zeal to withstand the pressure from people, from the powers that be? But in terms of intelligence, give it to him. Very committed person who would want to work. But I was afraid. In politics, does he have that to withstand the pressures from the powers that be? But I thank God for Rivers State. I'm not talking about generally. I thank God for Rivers State. Nigeria will have hope. And for the first time, to let me commend the police. Usually, we used to accuse police of being the one rigging the election, even though their part of their body was involved through the federal SARS. I want to commend the police generally for not playing the role the army played. I want to commend you people. And if you continue with that way, we'll begin to have hope. I want to commend the SSS, even though in 2016, they were involved in sending people to be senators. But this time, they have changed. Continue with that way. Continue with that way. Don't change again. So, I have said elections have come and gone. We have no other state other than Rivers State. I owe this state a lot. Elections have come and gone. What we are talking about is that Rivers State will move forward. I stood on the altar of God and I said, bygone is bygone. Some people do not believe it. I want to assure them, I'm not like them. I cannot stand on the altar of God and make a statement and I go back. It was not induced by anybody, but I was led. I said, look, you must find a way to see that there's total peace in Rivers State. And part of that peace will have to be to extend the olive friends to other people. Let us know that this is our state. Let us forget about whoever is angry or not. I have said, forgive me if I stepped on your toes. And I have forgiven everybody too who has stepped on my own toes. Let's work for Rivers State.
For us in the Independent National Electoral Commission, Inec Rivers State, we stayed focused on conducting a transparent, free, fair, and credible election. As I kept promising, on behalf of my team, we were bound by the provisions of the Constitution, the Electoral Act, other laws, and the guidelines for the election. We were further bound by the pronouncements and decisions of courts. Yes, we know that not everyone was happy with our commitment to maintaining the rules, but we were undaunted and we showed true valor in upholding the standards of equity. We refused to break the rules to please anyone. The present INEC team has by its conduct helped to break away from the negative narrative of violence-tainted victories or elections and results that have limited input and participation of the voters. We can say, and confidently too, that many voters in the state had access to polling units and indeed exercised the rights to vote in peace in this election than in previous elections in this state. If we sustain this momentum and proceed on this new narrative that we have established with the 2019 election, Rivers State would no longer remain a flashpoint of violence at elections and would no longer risk being left behind by the rest of the country when it comes to the electoral calendar.
We thank you all for your contributions, fortitude, resilience, and commitment towards the peaceful conclusion of the election process in Rivers State. I am confident that going forward, elections in Rivers State will be peaceful and the narrative of Rivers State elections will be positively changed forever.
For the champion.